obviously a great sub-regional for Purdue. Beat a couple of good teams. As I mentioned at the meeting of the press conference after the Marquette match, I thought they were unreal in how well they competed against us. And we were just very fortunate to find a way to win that one and advance to the regional, and we're looking forward to that. We'll practice again here this afternoon. We did practice yesterday, came in, watched a little bit of tape, and practiced yesterday, Sunday. We'll practice today. We'll practice tomorrow morning here before we board a bus and drive up to Madison for that one. Apparently we're inside the radius that you bus and not fly, which is fine. It'll be a nice trip for us. And we'll practice again up there on Wednesday, probably have a practice on Thursday, and then we play at 9:30 Eastern time against a really good and veteran Oregon team. So we're playing well. We're very encouraged. We're excited, as every team is right now, if you're one of the 16 teams that are left. And with that, I'm ready for Israel to start firing some questions away.
You guys, you won your 9th straight against Marquette. You've obviously coached a lot of teams, got a lot of teams in the tournament. Do you think it has helped just the difference in feeling of not having lost in I don't know how many weeks, but it's been a while? Do you think you guys are riding any momentum from that end of the Big Ten slate still?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of different ways of looking at that, but there's no question our players are competing with great confidence right now. They absolutely believe that they're going to win when they step on the floor. I don't necessarily know that what happened 4 days ago or 5 days ago or 20 days ago has anything to do with what happens today or tomorrow, but I do know that our players feel like they're capable of beating anybody on a given day, which is the mentality you have to have when you go into a tournament, because you're going to play a lot of really, really good teams to get to where you want to go. But I think that this is a group that is hot at the right time, and you just hope that that can continue, and that when they get pushed like they did against Marquette, and they could have folded, they did just the opposite, that they found ways to put some good runs together and win a really tough match.
Just seeing different, more national media cover this tournament, I haven't really seen many pick you guys over Oregon. Do you feel like underdogs, or are you trying to kind of put a chip on your team's shoulder with that, or what are you doing anything with that?
Yeah, I really haven't seen, and I have great respect for media, don't get me wrong, but I really haven't paid a lot of attention to what the national media has to say, about it. I'm glad that there's a national media out there paying attention, because it wasn't too many years ago that nobody really cared. I think it should be a really good match, to be honest. They finished second in the Pac-12. Losses to Minnesota in non-conference, and then I think Stanford twice and somebody else in the Pac-12 beat them, but they have not lost many matches at all, and they've won several in a row down the stretch, and they look really good on tape. But we look really good on tape. I'm sure that Matt Ulmer is looking at our team, and he knows that we're going to be really hard to beat. So, no, I'm not too worried about it. At this point in time, I think anybody can beat anybody. I saw Arizona State on Saturday night go into BYU and sweep BYU, which many people thought was an upset. But Arizona State's got great talent. We've got tremendous talent. So, we're just ready to let the fur fly.
And then, going to Wisconsin now, the difference between playing at Holloway those first two and then now playing some of the best competition you'll see without the benefit of your home court. Just talk about the nature of this tournament to kind of flip it on you like that.
Well, I think certainly it benefits Wisconsin that they're at home. But outside of that, we probably have played at Wisconsin as often as anybody else in that field. Penn State maybe has played there quite a bit as well. I like being in a Big Ten venue. If we're going to go somewhere, I'd rather be in a venue that we have some familiarity with. We played there, 6 weeks ago and did not play poorly. I like the place. It's one of the better venues for volleyball in the country. And one of the things that we've always tried to get our team to understand is you have to embrace the road. You know, those whatever arenas you're going to play in, you have to find ways to really like them, like the people who are there, say hi to the ushers and the people at the scores table, and feel good about wherever you are. But this is a neutral floor for us in Oregon, so that's all we're focused on right now. Will we have 2,500 Purdue fans there? Probably not, okay? But we'll have enough there that we'll know that people are supporting us.
And last one for me. Just touched on different areas. I know service was a big one for you. Now that you've played a couple games of the tournament, has your team responded the way you wanted them to, and have they kind of made, whatever adjustments you were looking for so far?
Well, I think every match is a little bit different, and you certainly do focus on certain things match to match. An area that I thought we were a little marginal on against Marquette was blocking, but that was partially because of the offense that they run, and that we saw a couple of things that we may not have expected. So this week blocking has become a big deal. Both Marquette and our opponent on Thursday, Oregon, run a really fast set to the outside hitter. So the fact that we've already been, prepared for that with Marquette helps us a little bit with that. But I think serving is going to be a huge component of this match, as it is whenever you play this game. But that's something we'll continue to work on and try to figure out how do you attack Oregon with the serve to take them out of what they like to do. And they'll be doing the exact same thing. So those things are important. I think defensively, we're playing as well as any team we've had in a long time, and we emphasize defense at Purdue. So I like the way we're defending. Serving is a part of that, and we're going to have to make sure that we really serve tough and are attentive blocking and just play our tails off defensively in the backcourt.
So speaking of Oregon, just kind of like you said before with Marquette, you got a little bit of that taste with the quick outside hit, and
right.
What you're going to see against Oregon is going to be a bit similar. So how important is scout team and watching film right now heading into Thursday's matchup?
It's the same as it is all season. It's important that you have some familiarity, but that you don't put too much stock in what your game plan or your approach is during the entire match, because what will happen is they'll make some adjustments. They'll do some things differently based on who we are. And the teams that adjust the best on their own to what goes on in the match are the teams that are going to be very, very successful. Be no different than the game I'm going to watch tonight here in Mackey Arena between Purdue and Iowa, okay? Iowa is a kind of team that I'm sure that Matt is going to be very well prepared for, but do you really know what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and how they're going to play when they get here? So much of it is, do you have the players that can get on the floor and recognize that they have to do some things differently, because you only have 2 timeouts that you can call. You can't do a lot of communication in a loud arena with your players. So you have to trust that they are knowledgeable enough and savvy enough that they're going to make those adjustments on their own.
Being knowledgeable and savvy enough will get you far, but so will confidence. And your team seems to be brimming with it right now, with players kind of having record-breaking games every single match that you guys have played so far, recently at least. Yeah. Where has your team developed that confidence?
Many of them were born with it, I believe. That's just who they are. And I don't mean they were born with it, but they've developed that through the culture and the environment and the success that they have had. We certainly encourage that. I think that I like to think that this team is a pretty good connection with who I like to be. I like big challenges. I mean, that's why I came to the Big Ten. I was lucky enough to get the job, first of all, but this is a challenge every day. And I think we have players that embrace that. They love that, the fact that it's going to be a big challenge. And the bigger the challenge, I think the better this team plays.
So speaking of big challenges, coming to the Big Ten, how important is it to kind of stay focused on this game and not look to the next game that you guys are going to be possibly playing a Big Ten opponent right after, playing a fierce one like Oregon?
Yeah, that won't be a problem. There's not anybody in our organization that's thinking about anything except Oregon right now. There's just no way that's happening. Oregon is one of the best teams in the country. When you look at their roster, you'll see that they are probably the oldest team with the most experience of any team in America. So we know we have our hands full, and that's all we're thinking about.
So you said they are an older team with a lot of experience. You guys are a younger team just getting some experience, especially with freshman players playing in their first tournament of the year. With that being said, why do you think it's maybe best that you guys are kind of peaking where you are right now with these younger players? Because they don't have experience like, oh, we're going up against an old team like we did last year. This is brand new for them. So why is that maybe a good thing that you guys have a younger team going into this?
I don't think that the young and the old thing will have much to do with it when the two teams get together on the floor. I hope not. Otherwise, we got a problem, right? Because they're a lot more experienced than we are. But my experience tells me that players will play and competitors will compete. And if we're good enough to beat them, then we'll do everything we can to do that. I think it's exciting that there's going to be a big contrast between their experience and knowledge and everything and this young, spirited team coming from West Lafayette that apparently a lot of the people in the media don't think can win. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not pointing the finger. National media, I guess. Yeah.
Dave, when I look at the offense on your team, it's about 60% from two players. Oregon is balanced across 4 or 5 different players. Is that really the challenge you're talking about, is you can't load up on a left side or something like that because they've got offense that can come from all over?
Yeah, they run a 5-1 like we do, so they've got 1 setter and 5 hitters. They certainly lean on a player or two. Maybe not as much as we do, but they certainly lean on some people that we're going to have to do a really, really good job on. But their setter is a big-time setter. We saw her, I think 2 years ago, we played Washington State, and that's where she was 2 years ago. And she was pretty special then. And then she's now shifted to another team and has made a big difference at Oregon. And she's flashy. I mean, she can do a lot of things with the volleyball. And so you have to have a plan when you go in. You've got to stick with that plan until you need to adjust, and then you make adjustments. But they will be difficult to defend. There's no doubt about that. I mean, they're 6'5", 6'3", 6'3", 6'3", maybe another 6'3", maybe 6'2". So they're bigger than we are. And offensively, I think most people would probably say that they're better offensively than we are. So we have to be really, really good in some other areas.
Speaking of setters, I think Lauren Poulter, I don't know this for sure, but I assume when she came here, she thought she was going to have a different role, be a mentor, but also do that while playing on the floor. And as the season's gone on, she's seen less and less playing time. But it seems like she still has embraced, hey, I've got a freshman here that I can get ready for these, NCAA tournament matches, whatever it might be, the Big Ten schedule, and she's handled that maturely.
She's amazing. She's kind of a no-nonsense type person, I think she certainly came here with the opportunity to try to be a key component in our team. She also came with a recovery process from a serious, knee injury that she had. But I feel we could play Lauren Poulter anytime, and we have. She's a really good player. But she's not 6'1", touching 10'5", which is what Taylor Anderson is. And we felt like it was important that we gave Taylor as much time as we could during this season to give her the chance. We felt like her growth would be better than what it might be for Lauren. Lauren is good. But both of them could show up and play on Thursday night. So, and Lauren knows that. Lauren knows that we'll go to her at any time because we have a lot of trust in her. But to your question, Sam, she has responded to everything we've asked her to do. And if that means to come in and play, to start, to come off the bench, to not play at all, she has been fabulous at that. She's been, as you mentioned, mature, responsible, a great teammate, just everything you would want from somebody in your program.
It seems like obviously you want depth at every position, but setter is one especially where you've always had two, and you've had situations where you had to have two. How much do you bank on that, knowing, you know, there's been years you experimented with the 6-2, things like that, but for the most part, it always seems like you have a setter and a setter in waiting on your roster.
Yeah, we actually have 3 really good setters on this team this year. But, you know, the situation, I think this year, we could have probably ran a 2-setter offense this season. But we had so many things to learn with this freshman-oriented team and sophomore-oriented team, a lot of young players, that I felt like, let's not try to reinvent too many things this season. Let's just get something going and get it right. And not the 6-2 is a very effective offense, as we've seen from some teams we've played this year, including Wisconsin, who I still think, with a full lineup, is the best team in America, and they run a 6-2. But I think for us right now, the 5-1 with hitters coming out of the back row like we have, and really good ball control. If you run a 6-2, you'd lose Allie Horning from the fray. And Allie Horning has been one of those players in the last 3 or 4 weeks that has helped catapult us to a different level. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hope we'll see a handful of you up in Madison. So Sam, you did finally get in and